Hello and welcome to CH Budget Brews. I'm Tim, and tonight I'm joined by Looter Scooter. How you doing tonight, Looter?
I'm doing quite well. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. I can't complain. So,
That's lovely to hear.
yeah, it's just been kind of busy at work. You know, the usual, nothing super exciting.
Yeah.
Um, but tonight we are going to do an update to one of the lists on the website that you have graciously been curating, but you wanted a little additional assistance kind of cleaning it up some, especially since
Yeah.
it's changed a lot.
Yeah, it's
Um,
really.
yeah, it's like really changed. So we're gonna update the Advantage Blue Pod list. That is from the CDH Decklist database. It's curated by Helenium, is the progenitor of the list. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Blue Pod, those who aren't 100% familiar with it?
Yeah, so for those that are familiar with Blood Pod, it's a little bit similar to that. We are a four-color stacks deck that uses Thrasios and Bruce Tarl as our commanders. We want to try and slow the game down, stop our opponents from winning with cards like Giant Magistrate or Rule of Law, and then eventually use Birthing Pod to assemble some Kiki Jiki based combos.
That's
That's
the gist of it. We also have a couple of kind of layered lines with Emil and Dockside Extortionist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can also use like Bloom Tender with like Duretti, and then you blink it with Emil. I know that when we did this list last time, it was very, very different. They were actually still on like doing like Corridor Monitor and Renegade Rallier to like get stuff back. Yeah, it's like Hal's really done a lot of work on this list.
Yeah, they used to be like all in on like trying to chain Birthing Pod from like 1 all the way up to Kiki, and now it cuts those cards that are generally weaker without Birthing Pod in favor of cards that are standalone powerful and good silver bullets. So cards like Lavinia Azorius Renegade is good versus like Nas decks because it stops their from casting their zeros or other stuff like that.
So as with most of these kind of ahead of time, I went ahead and went through and I cleaned up the mana base, kind of updated it. It was a little bloated based on our card prices have changed yet again. It's kind of a constant.
Fetch lands, we used to be able to afford a lot of them in the deck, and now they've gone up because they haven't been reprinted. And
like we might be able to squeeze. Like the problem is like even the cheapest ones, like I was looking at, like City of Brass for like a Marsh Flats or an Arid Mesa, and I was just like,
it's probably not worth it in a 4-color deck.
Maybe we just wait till we get to the next tier, I guess, question mark.
Yeah.
But when I was looking over the list, there was actually a few slots that I thought maybe might be worth kind of discussing, and perhaps maybe we cut some of these cards because I don't think they're as effective as they were when we initially brewed the list, right?
Yes.
Some of the ones that stood out to me were like Meltdown at like $7. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That card has spiked recently because of Legacy. It's seeing a lot of play in sideboards of red decks, and I don't think it is worth it.
No, I don't think it's worth it.
$7,
Force of Vigor's at 20 now.
Jesus.
Yeah, I think I'd rather find something else in that slot.
Yeah.
I don't think
a good.
I don't think
for
Blood Moon. I don't think Blood Moon's that great right now either. Personally.
Yeah. I think I agree. I like Magus of the Moon in the deck because we can tutor for it easily with Birthing Pod.
Okay.
But I think it's only $4, so it's not that expensive.
It's gone down a lot. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut the Blood Moon. I'm going to cut the Meltdown since you were in agreement with me.
I think for a good replacement to Meltdown, Biforce is pretty good.
Biforce is a good one.
It doesn't have the same advantage that, like, if there are 5 0-rocks or whatever, you can't just cast for
just can't nuke them all. What about so let's go to the resources tab on budgetbrews.club, because we have all these nice, let's do some spell-based resources here real quick. So some of the ones that like might be worth thinking about. So like Heliod's Intervention
I was just about to recommend that one. That
might be a
seems-
good, because it kind of fills that same niche where we can kind of hit, and but it also like hits artifacts and enchantments. Now the downside is it can get swatted. I don't know.
Yeah,
Can't stop everything.
true. It
Um,
also doesn't get swatted that badly because, like, let's say let's say you don't control any artifacts and enchantments, and you target every artifact and enchantment on board. SWAT doesn't help you. SWAT doesn't stop that at all because they still have to target every artifact or enchantment on play.
that's true. I should not have drank that drink right there, but I did. Sorry.
That's-
I like Resculpt right now.
yeah,
like a
Resculpt
braid
is-
right
is-
now.
I definitely like a braid a lot. That's one of my favorite go-tos for like cheap, flexible removal in
Yeah,
red
so
decks.
I was thinking maybe we do like, yeah, so let's add in the Heliod's.
There's also Wear Tear as another option. I don't know if we were already on Wear Tear.
Heliod. No, wrong. What did I just put in? Heliod's Emissary. That's the wrong one. Remove.
Remove.
All right, so Heliod's Intervention. We are not on a braid.
Oh yeah. I think a braid used to be pretty expensive.
Yeah, I think it was like $4
With-
at one point.
Yeah, but it's been reprinted, I think, in Commander Legends and Double Masters, I think.
All right, so I got the Resculpt in. I like Resculpt because it exiles the creature or the artifact. I like the Abrade because it hits creatures and artifacts. I like the Heliod's Intervention. God, Finale's $41.
Yeah. That's what no reprints in 2 years on a real powerful tutor does.
How do you feel about Tanglewire at $16? Because it's not in the Advantage Blue Pod list
It's-
anymore.
Yeah. I don't think I like it anymore, especially at $16.
It's kind of what
I
I was
think-
thinking.
It sort of has a problem where the deck used to be a lot more stacksy
Right.
and didn't have as many cards that were like specific hate pieces. Tangleware is generally good versus everyone, but isn't great versus any specific deck.
Yeah. We can add so Gamble we could probably play.
He probably could. Gamble is
Oh wow. Oh, he's not even on
not that
Gamble. Shit.
expensive.
All right. Let's do this. So let's look at the creature suite right now because that's kind of our main, like where we're
Yeah,
at. So
the meat of the deck, yeah.
I think we could basically like, I think we could probably justify the Wandering Archaic. I
think
think
so.
we could definitely put in Lavinia, Zerda,
Vinny
Duretti,
Zerda.
and I think Emil can all go in. The Esper Sentinel can go in.
I also like Eidolon of Rhetoric and Archon of Emeria. Don't
Oh,
believe
yeah.
those were in our original deck.
I don't think Archon was printed when we.
Archon was not printed when we first made the deck. I also like Phantasmal Image in this deck. We are
ARCH.
not on that yet, but Phantasmal Image is really good to copy like opposing dock sides or give us a redundant stacks piece to protect against removal or
That is
all sorts of
true.
other. Eidolon.
We got the Island, Duretti, Emil.
Do you mean Derevi? No, because Duretti is the mono red.
I got Duretti. I said it wrong.
Okay.
All right. And then, so now we've got Esper Sentinel.
One card I'm seeing that's in both Dawnraker Thrasios and the full power blue pod is Eternal Witness that we are not on. How do you feel about Eternal
Yes.
Witness?
Yes. I definitely think we should be on Eternal Witness.
It's nice to have
Silent.
like if you need a counter spell, like Birthing Pod can't tutor for counter spells, and in this budget can't grab Spellseeker, which is the best way to tutor for like interaction or
Right.
spell base. But if you
Yeah.
already have a counter spell in your graveyard, fetching Eternal Witness
Not
does
a bad way
a
to
good
go.
approximation.
So I'm on board with cutting Vanifar and some of the clunkier pieces like the Renegade Rallier and like that kind of stuff.
Yes,
Alright,
I think improving our overall card quality, the
yeah,
cost of the birthing pod lines is a net gain for the deck.
I think so. I mean, we're even fitting in Grand Abolisher at this point, and we're still like
Yeah,
barely at budget.
right. Especially when we don't have Enlightened Tutor to tutor for birthing pod. Like, there's just no way
Right.
to find it, and having a bunch of cards like Renegade
Mm-hmm.
Rallier or
Yeah,
Vanifar that kind of are good
got
with birthing
that.
pod, or in the case of Vanifar, like replacements for pod.
Yeah, I think he's off Collector Oof. I'm actually on board with that. Same thing with Stony
Yeah.
Silence. Because if you so like one of my main problems,
Is
one
it
he's
stops
off.
your unbirthing pod?
Yeah, like we're a pod deck. Why are we running a bunch of null rods, or why are we running pod?
I
I'm
think
yeah,
the main argument is it stops like Nas decks from casting a bunch of like rocks and stuff, but we can play like Eidolon, Archon, Rule of Laws.
right.
Kind of shores
I
that
think
up.
there's things that we can play that like I think there's like one of my main problems with stacks is playing stacks you can't win under. Like if you can't win under it, if it literally stops your deck,
Yeah,
you probably
and
either
you're
it's
probably
not a
not
good
hard
strategy.
casting Kiki.
Yeah, like making 3 red to oh yeah, that also reminds me we need to get the Wandering Archaic in.
Yes.
Wandering Archaic. All right, so I think we can cut the corridor monitor. I think that's out.
Yes.
All right, so let's go to visual mode real quick
Yeah.
for
I
the
guess
viewers.
it is important to still have some combos with Kiki.
Well, so we've got so for our untappers we have
Yeah.
Derevi, of course. We've got
Well,
Deceiver.
Derby can't win with Kiki.
It cannot win with Kiki. We do have so we have Derevi, we have Emil, we've got Deceiver Exarch.
Zarek.
We have Felidar Guardian. Oh, he's
Okay,
not.
yeah.
And we have Village Beltringer.
Okay,
Still.
yeah, that's good enough. Okay.
We're also running the backup of we still have the Teamer Sabretooth in here as well. How would you feel since we're on Zerda adding Kinnan and adding Basalt Monolith?
I really like that idea. I think
Right.
giving us another option to win the game via an infinite mana is
Right.
always nice. Should our pod
Kinnan's
lines
not
get shut off?
Yeah.
I don't think Kinnan is too much.
No, and it's also and Basalt's $2. It's also another like way to kind of like another reason to not run the null rod is basically what I'm
That's
getting
true,
at.
yeah.
I'm not that impressed with Linvala right now.
Yeah.
I'm down to cut it. I do want to put the
I think-
Linvinia in.
I think Linvala can go to the maybe board because it is still good versus some decks, but
Yeah,
if you're not
everything
seeing
we're
a lot
cutting
of
is going in
forks-
is going in the maybe.
yeah, perfect.
If you want to hit refresh, you can update the list. You'll see it now.
Yep. Okay.
Green
Yes,
Ranger.
I see.
And we're still 2 cards over, but
That's
I think we
fine,
can probably
cut them.
safely drop the Rex Sage at this point.
Yes. Trying to see if the neither the list is playing like Knight of Autumn or something. Yeah, I think we could drop Rex Age and not be too hard up for it.
Yeah, I don't think we're that hard up for it. I think they've printed enough better things now that we're kind of
It's kind of instance.
Yeah, it's kind of getting antiquated a little bit. Let's see. Force.
What do you think about Occam Adversary? Because that used to be very good when we first made the list. Timna almost always comes down turn 2, starts getting you card advantage.
I haven't been super happy with it. I've actually been cutting it from a lot of my lists.
Yeah, I haven't been impressed with it recently either. I think Steedish is generally sped up.
Like when there's just a
lot.
lot less green running around overall.
Exactly.
Like in budget pods, there's usually a green player, but like if you're playing against higher power decks, I have found that it's not as consistent as it once was. I'd also like to try to squeeze in a Noble Hierarch.
I think it's Birds of Paradise. Oh, we already have Birds of Paradise.
We already got Birds.
Birds. Yeah. I'd like to squeeze a Noble Hierarch. It's pretty cheap now.
Yeah, it's like right on the cusp. It's like 15.
Yeah, which I guess is a lot for a mana dork, but it's a card you'll play. Like
It'll be
those
in
are
every deck you play
$15.
it in.
It'll be every deck, every band deck you played it. If you like
Yeah,
want to get into modern or legacy or whatever,
exactly.
useful
Yeah,
there. I like that.
it'll do you a solid.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
see what else we got
good.
here. So we're at 35 creatures and they're at 30.
Yes.
What can we think about trimming?
Creatures.
Is there stuff to trim? So do we cut Seaborn Muse?
We can. So this list, we're trying to make it a hybrid of Dawnwaker Thrasios and Advantage Blue Pod.
A little more, yeah,
Dawnwaker,
just because to help fill in the slots.
yeah. Dawnwaker is on Seedborn,
Isn't?
and Advantage Blue Pod is not.
I would be safe in saying we could probably cut the Teamer Sabertooth at this point.
I think so too, especially when we have Emil as a Dockside comboer.
Right.
Don't need Sabertooth anymore.
Considering. So we'll put it in the considering. So that way, if for some reason you don't have an Emil or can't find an Emil, it's down there just that way people see it. I think we could also probably ooh, why is he not on Probe? Hal, if you watch this,
Hal.
get Probe back
Hal.
in your deck. Hal,
Hal, please
get
put
Probe
Probe.
back. Get Probe in your deck.
Probe back in your deck.
Yes, please. You want to be able to look at people's hands. I understand you got a bunch of rule laws, but we're big boys. We play Get Probe.
Please.
Please,
You're
please,
playing
please.
Brainstorm. You can play.
You can play Get Probe. All right, so we're back at 100. I think we can safely consider. So we've got Blink of the Eye over Chain of Vapor, Brainstorm, Counterspell. I don't really see a reason to play Crop Rotation because we're not really like crop rotating
Where we
into
can't crop rotate into Cradle.
right. Yeah, I'm just kind of meh. I have not been super happy. I'm a little torn on these double blue counterspells
I am too.
because I've been having a hard time getting them to stick.
Yeah, and also it can also hurt if you're not like if you want to play like a Lavinia on your turn.
Yeah,
It's hard to also hold up counterspell for that.
it's just
turn.
like the double blue is just it's murdering me.
Yeah,
Like-
I agree. I think we can cut default counterspell. Narcissus Reversal is interesting because that card can really steal games if you like reversal on Ad Naus or Peer.
Yeah, I'm wanting Misdirection over it.
I think you could see Mr. Oh yeah, over Narcissus Reversal. I like that.
Yeah, I
For
think
sure.
we kind of. I think we at least want a little bit of free interaction.
Yes.
Because we're kind of right on the edge of like the $500 mark. So
yeah, we're kind of right on the Fierce and SWAT are
yeah,
a
they're a
little
little
expensive.
out of budget.
Yeah.
We got a Remora in here. We don't have a library. We don't have a study because they're like $30 and $50. I think the land base is probably okay. We still got one more slot we gotta fill.
So one card I'm seeing in Dawnwaker Thrasios that we could play and is pretty cheap is Wargate. Is X green, white, blue for a sorcery. Search your library for a permanent card with converted mana cost X or less and put it onto the battlefield. Then shuffle.
Okay, I'm down. I'm down to clown Charlie Brown.
If we cast X equals 3, can find us Basalt Monolith or Kinnan or Zerda for that combo.
Mm-hmm.
X equals 4 can find us Pod, and is the only tutor for Pod in our deck.
Tutor for Pod and Hal. Hal's he's got a Light Tutor.
Enlightened tutor, yeah.
But that's it. Okay. I think we can probably cut. So we were running Destiny Spinner and Vexing Shusher last time.
Yes.
I don't think they're quite as good as they used to be. I'm not saying they're not good cards. What I'm saying is like, I don't think like the meta's not as grindy. We're not under. We built this deck under Flash. People don't respect like interaction nowadays. So
Halanium is not on Shusher either. He's just on Allosaurus Shepherd.
Well, he's on Shepherd and then he's on Grand Abolisher.
Oh right, yes, Grand Abolisher does function like a
which is
Like a
good.
thing. Yeah.
We got the Dranathan, we got the
You're
Archon, we
also
got
on a
the
polisher
Aether.
too, which is nice.
Yeah. And we were able to fit it in too.
I'm wondering, can we replace Granabalsher with Ranger Captain of Eos?
We actually can probably just justify going a couple bucks over. I think
Because
that
Ranger Captain is, I guess, it doesn't find us that many useful things. Like it only can find Kyrian Ranger and Esper Sentinel or a Mana Dork.
no, but it's also a silence on a
It's
creature.
also is a silence, yeah.
I'd like to see Green Sun's out. God, Finale so much. What about maybe
Yeah.
Court of Calling?
Port of Calling. I think I like that. I think
It's
triple
$6,
green is,
but it's pretty like
yeah.
we're not
Triple
gonna get.
green, don't think is that harsh because Thrasios can tap for a green.
Yeah, the Convoke helps.
Yeah, the Convoke really helps that triple green.
And then,
I think I like it over
Alright.
Finale.
Go ahead and hit refresh. Tell me what you think. So we've got 2 Neoform targets for Bruce. We've got a bajillion Neoform targets for Thrasios, which is good. We got
that's
all.
a good thing.
We got. Oh no, we have 3 Neoform targets for Bruce. We have Kiki, Kyrian,
Kiki.
Seaborn Muse, and then Village Ball, and then Wandering Archaic.
Also, Karmic Guide if something weird happens, like our Kiki gets in the graveyard.
Yeah. Oh, 4. And then we also have and then for the 3 drops for Neoform off Thrasios, we got Ranger, we got Zerta, we got VBG, we got Magus, we've got Fabral Elder, we got Eidolon, we got Aven, we got Archon, and then obviously
a lot of good options.
we got we got our untappers as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty good. Our Eldritch Evolution targets are solid. And the reason why I'm kind of looking at like what are our 3 drops and what are our 5 drops is because they both pod off of so like we can pod off of them. Basically just that like we can pod EE and Neoform off of those. And off of those we always get 5 drops and 3 drops. Obviously we can pod out other things for like a 2 drop or a 4 drop, but primarily we're gonna pod out Bruce and Thrasios.
I'm doing a quick compare between.
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
Kyle is on Shivan Gorge.
I think that's part of.
That's a Duretti combo or a Derivi combo, isn't it?
Yeah, we're not
Makes
on that
sense.
one because that's like $25.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's not. It's a reserve list card. I mean,
I think we should be on Phantasmal Midge.
I already added it in, didn't I? Nope,
refreshed.
I didn't.
It is not.
Oh, wrong spot. That means we'll have to make a
Awesome.
cut. Now I need us to find a cut. Let's cut. So since we're not playing fetch lands, I'm gonna cut Ponder, but keep in Preordain.
Yes. Yeah. Ponder.
And here's
does
why.
get a lot worse.
Well, and the reason why we want to keep Ponder or Preordain in is because of the Scry. So it'll help us cycle like cards that we don't want. So we're at 525. I'm hesitant to go any higher, especially with
would agree.
Card maturation. But let's see what we got here. Let me refresh that, and then we'll do a compare real fast just to.
Yeah, I'm doing a compare between both his list and Ian Comedian's.
I'm comparing our list to. So we are 42 cards off, but I think we maintain the same essence.
Yes.
I think you're probably right. Magus will probably be a little bit more kind of interactive because it'll help cut off a lot of the non-basics. Maybe down at this, but there's also a lot of low color decks. But basically the cards that we're not playing are the cards that are really over $50.
Yeah, and those that are just like more expensive versions of cards we already have. Like we have counter spells. We just don't have Force of Will, Force Negation, SWAT, or Fierce.
And those are definitely cards that, I would start slotting in like SWAT, Fierce. I would start slotting in Fetch Lands, Chromox, Bloom Tender. When we when we went up a budget tier, not necessarily
750.
Yeah, like if we went up to 750 or like 1K or whatever, like I would start putting those cards in. But I think for now we're probably in a pretty decent little slot. I mean, we're at 525, and Hal's list is, 10 grand. And his
Yeah,
list is
it's just nothing.
definitely, well, part of that's because of the foils, but
Right.
it's definitely a lot more streamlined than ours is, basically based on the budget. But we can, I think we still maintain the basic essence, and we are using some of the cards from Dawnwaker to kind of
Yeah.
just help, like, give us that
Ooh.
higher density that we need to win. What's up? What
I
were you
think
gonna
one
say?
thing we could do to cut down a bit on the budget is replace Flusterstorm with Miscast. Because Fluster is currently $17 and Miscast is $100, I think.
Yep, it is.
And both do very similar things. Flusterstorm's obviously more powerful because it's harder to interact with, but
A lot more, but I think for slim interaction, I think that's kind of where we want. We could also think about, like, Swan Song's like $11. Nah, I want to keep it.
yeah,
It's too good.
Swan Song's really good.
It's really
Fluster might be better than Swan Song though.
It hits enchantments.
It does, but Flusterstorm being harder to counter.
Doesn't counter breach.
That's true. It does not counter breach. So I'm looking at Ian's list actually, and I think one card we could add to the mana base potentially is Emergent Zone.
Even without, I think we would have to slot in crop rotation though at that point.
Yeah, would we just have a singleton Emergent Zone as a?
No, we would still need, in order to be able to get it, because like we don't
That's
really have a
true.
good way to find it right now. And I mean, at the end of the day, I think because this list is really trying to leverage pod.
Right.
And it wants
and pod doesn't work with Emergent Zone. That's true.
And it also really wants to win. It wants to win via combat a lot of the time, because its main outs are like make infinite dudes or make a bunch of mana, draw your deck, and then cast a big old finale for a bajillion. So I don't know. Like, I think it's good. I think that's probably, if we wanted to do a budget Dawnwaker, I think we could probably lean that way.
Yeah.
But as is, I think we're probably okay personally. But what I'll do is I'll put the crop rotation in the Emergent Zone.
Ooh, what do you think about Muddle the Mixture as a way to tutor for Kinnan, Dockside, MS is Familiar, Abolisher and stuff? Can also be interaction.
Oh God, good Lord. 1 second. Crop rotation. Let me drop these down into the fry, forget about them. I just don't want to forget where I'm at. What was the card you were thinking of?
Muddle the Mixture.
So this probably will get me crucified. So I've been playing some amount of like budget CDH on Trice lately. And one card that's kind of expensive that I have not been finding very much use for is Carpet of Flowers.
Okay. That makes sense in a budget environment because people don't have as many like dual lands and shock lands that are actual lands. So, like blue might be common, but there might be
it's a lot of buddy lands.
Islands. Yeah, exactly.
There's not as many islands because there's not as many fetches, and also players, at least the players that I've been coming across, actually more often than not, there's just a lower density of blue in pods overall.
Yeah.
So I think maybe what we do is we move Carpet down to the considering. I would play Carpet if you're in a meta with a lot of islands or a lot of players that play blue. Especially for $20, I think we've kind of slotted in the Basalt combo, kind of in that area. So what was that card you were thinking of that was in Ian's list you wanted to add?
Muddle the Mixture was what I was thinking of.
I think we should do Muddle.
There's also for the maybe board, depending on like if your meta warrants it, Lightning Bolt and Rest in Peace are in Ian's list. They're not in ours. I don't believe Rip stops any of our. It stops Karmic Guide from reentering a thing.
How about Skoos?
Ooh, Skoos could be interesting.
Scavenging. Oh.
Yeah. Though I guess one problem is it doesn't I guess it kind of stops Hulk because all the Hulk decks nowadays are looking to reanimate it.
Well, yeah, and it you can pump green. I mean, this deck will make a lot of green. I put it in the considering board. And then
Yeah,
what was the other one
obviously,
beside the rest in peace? And then what was the other
Lightning
one?
Bolt. Lightning Bolt is just a decent removal spell for most things under 3 toughness. You're seeing a lot of collector oofs.
I'm almost willing just to keep the bolt in the main.
Yeah.
Cut like negate. Cut like negate or something.
Negate. I think I like that.
I'm not like counter spells have been good, but they're not like.
Yeah, or maybe also we did add muddle that can.
No. Let's cut Pyroblast.
Okay. For similar reasons as carpet as.
Yep. And then keep the negate in. I think we're actually no, we're at 100, so no negate. So we are running lots of creature removal. We have Resculpt, Swords, Bolt, Abrade. So that's like 4 pieces of spot removal. We also have Blink of the Eye. Oh no, we have negate in there. And then we've got the Heliod's Intervention.
Yep.
Like I think we're pretty stacked.
Also on Nature's Claim too.
Yeah, which is nice. We did not add Wear and Tear, but I think I'm okay with not having Wear and Tear.
I think I'm okay with that. I'd consider it over Heliod's Intervention, but I think that's the only slot I like Wear and Tear over.
I really like Heliod's Intervention.
I do too. I definitely put Wear and Tear in the maybe board.
Okay, I'll drop it in there because it's definitely like a good card to consider.
Yeah, and if your meta is more or artifact enchantment combos rather than creature combos, you can cut like a Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah, you can kind of tech in more. You know, yeah. I like that. All right, so we're actually under 500. We got money to spend.
Woo!
What do you? You know what? Let's just give it a little breathing room because in 2 days it'll be worth more. All right.
Let's celebrate at this one moment in time.
Let's just celebrate the one moment where it's under 500. I think we look pretty good.
I like this list a lot.
I'm gonna probably play this next time I play on Trice. Nice. Well, Looter, thanks for coming out.
Yep. Thank you as always for having me.
Thanks for helping with the update. And just so everybody knows, if you go to the Budget Brews website, you will notice that it has changed, which is kind of exciting. We've expanded the budget tiers to $750. We've expanded it to $1K and budgetless. We're also expanding some of the resources, adding a few more community ones as well. That is being powered by our nice patrons. They've been pretty generous, so we are taking the funds that have gone into there and we're using it to kind of expand our community resources. So if you do want to contribute, you can go to patreon.com/CDH_budget_brews. Give us $1. If you like what you see, hit that like, share, subscribe. The deck list and the original will be in the show notes. You got anything else you want to add, Looter?
Nope. I think definitely join the Discord. There's a lot of kind folks helping out with budget decks. Also some casual decks. There's a lot of casual brewing.
There is down in the ultra budget and the EDH section. Yes, ma'am. There sure are. And one last thing before we go, where can people find you?
You can find me pretty much everywhere on the CDH Discords. I'm in the Budget Brews Discord a lot. I'm kind of in various other CDH community Discords, but I don't frequent Twitter really. Don't frequent Reddit or any other social media.
Fair enough.
If you need me, you can find me on Discord. That's about it.
All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, and everybody have a good night.